Okay, we're going to go over factoring, and this method is called, I guess, fearless factoring. We have our trinomial. Trinomial is a polynomial that has three terms, okay, and it's technically a quadratic. And this quadratic we're going to take from standard, because it's in standard form now, and we're going to change it to factored form. Okay, and when we do that, the process we use is called factoring. Okay, and specifically we're going to use what's been named fearless factoring to do it. Our standard form, just in case you forget, is f at x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So this would be your a, this would be your b, and this would be your c. And those are the terms here, your c, your b, and your a. Okay, and the factored form, f at x is equal to a x minus r, x minus s. The r and the s are your x-intercepts. They represent where the graph crosses the x-axis. This would be maybe r and s. It doesn't matter what you call which, okay? Okay, so fearless factoring. The first thing you're going to do is you need to find two terms that multiply. Did I write that number down right? Yeah. We need two numbers that multiply to our a times c. So think of it like this. We need two numbers that multiply to our a term times our c term. And those same two numbers need to add up to what our b term is. Very similar to many other styles of factoring. Okay. In this case, our a and our c are 3 and 4. And our b is negative 11. You can just pick them right out of the equation. So let's go through some trial and error here. Two numbers that multiply to 3 times 4 is 12. So they need to multiply to 12. And actually, sorry, that's negative 4. Okay, so that makes this negative 12. And that distinction is going to be pretty important for what we're doing here. And those same two terms need to add up to negative 11. So by trial and error, I think of factors of 12 is probably the best way to do it. Let's go 1 and 12. Let's say negative 1 and 12 and negative 1 and 12. Well, negative 1 and 12 equals actually positive 11. But if I switch that negative and make it positive 1 and negative 12, positive 1 and negative 12, well, those check out. Those both happen to work out. And those are the first factors I used. So these two terms are really important. I'm going to write them down. Positive 1 and negative 12. Okay. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to essentially build this factored form, and we're going to divide it by our a term. Okay. So our factored form, we have our two brackets. Okay. And we're going to put in what these values are here. Now, these aren't technically our r and our s yet. We'll just underline. So they're going to go essentially here. We're going to divide by what our a term is. Okay. And we're going to take this entire first term, okay, and we're just going to half the exponent. So we're going to put 3x, not squared, but just 3x in the beginning of each of these, okay, so 3x and 3x. We're going to put our other two terms in, positive 1 and negative 12, it doesn't matter which one, and we're going to divide by our a term, and our a term happened to be, in this case, do you remember what it was?
3x?
Yeah, well, technically the a is just the coefficient,
okay,
so it's just the value of 3. Okay, so I'll rewrite this all in black here. This is technically us going from standard to factored. Okay, so our f at x is equal to 3x plus 1, 3x minus 12, all divided by the value of 3. So that's how we build what we have here. Okay, now what we want to do is common factor our brackets. Can I find a common factor in here? I can take 1 out, but it won't change anything. Can I find a common factor in here? I can. I can take the value of 3 out. Okay, so if you remember your common factoring, we're going to take the value of 3 out. And instead of putting the 3 just in front of that bracket, we're going to bring it to the very, very front. Okay, so it'll now say f at x is equal to 3. That was our common factor. And we have our 3x plus 1. And then we have to divide this. 3x divided by 3 is just the value of x. Negative 12 divided by 3 is just negative 4, okay? And this is divided by, technically, our value of 3. The reason we've done this now is because this 3 and this 3, they create a 1. They essentially cancel out. And this is now our factored form. We have our 3x plus 1 and our x minus 4. And that's one of the forms of factored form for this specific equation.